Okay, so in questions 1 through 5 on a review, it asks whether or not the hypothesis test is left tail, right tail, or two tail. The way that we determine that is if our test is left tail, the alternative hypothesis will contain the less than symbol. If we have a right tail test, our alternative hypothesis will contain the greater than symbol. In a two-tail test, the alternative hypothesis will contain a does not equal. So in number 1, given that our null hypothesis, the mean is less than or equal to 25, and our alternative hypothesis, the mean is greater than 25, we look at our alternative hypothesis, we look at its symbol. It is greater than, therefore we have a right-tailed test. Number 2, a researcher claims that 73% of voters favor gun control. Well, it claims that 73%, so that means that P equals 73%, so that would be our null. Our alternative then would be a does not equal. A does not equal in the alternative indicates a two-tailed test. Three, a brewery claims that the mean amount of beer in their bottles is at least 12 ounces. Well, at least is greater than or equal to. This would be in our null, which means our alternative would be less than. A less than in our alternative indicates that we have a left-tailed test. Number 4. Number 4 states that a car maker claims that its new subcompact car gets better than. Well, better than means greater than. Greater than goes in our alternative hypothesis. If greater than is in our alternative hypothesis, we have a right-tailed test. And then number 5, an elementary school claims that the standard deviation in reading scores of its 4th grade students is less than. Well, this is the standard deviation as well, not that it really matters. This symbol is what matters. Our standard deviation is less than 3.15. The alternative has the symbol less than. So it is a left-tailed test. Number 6 through 8, we're finding our p-value. Okay, our p-value is area under the normal curve. Finding area under the normal curve, we use normal CDF. Remember, we enter into normal CDF, we'll enter in the smaller number followed by the larger number in terms of standard scores. Now, if we have a left-tailed test, we find the area to the left of our test statistic. If we have a right-tailed test, we find the area to the right. If we have a two-tailed test, we're going to double the area of our tail. So what we need is our test statistic. Remember, your test statistic comes from the following calculation. So it says, suppose you're using alpha being 5% to test the claim that the mean does not equal 34. Well, this means that we have a two-tailed test. That's important when we're calculating our p-value. You are given the following sample statistics. So let's see, n is 35, the sample mean is 33.1, and s is 2.7, and then mu here would be 34. We got that our test statistic is negative 1.97. Because this is a negative z-score in our two-tailed test, we're going to double the area to the left of it. If it was positive, we would just double the area to the right. So we do 2 times normal CDF, negative 10, to negative 1.97, and we get that p equals 0.0488. Number 7. We are given our null hypothesis that the mean is less than or equal to 29. What we need to look at is that in our alternative, we have a right-tailed test, which means when we calculate our p-value, we're going to find the area to the right of our test statistic. So I'm going to calculate my test statistic. going to come from 30.8 minus 29 divided by our standard deviation over the square root of n. We get 2.65. So now we do normal CDF, 2.65 to 10, and we get 0.0040. Remember, area we round to 4 decimal places under our curve. Number 8. We're given the alternative hypothesis here. This means that we have a right-tailed test. So I know that, again, to find my p-value, I'm going to be doing normal CDF, whatever my z-score is, to the right, which means all the way to 10. So I'm going to calculate my test statistic. Let's see, x bar is 1,090, mu will be 1,020, s is 82, and n is 35. So we get that z, our test statistic, is negative 2.16. Now, even though this is a negative test statistic, we still have a right-tailed test. We are finding the area to the right of this. This just gives us a larger p-value, and our p-value is 0.9846.